Okay, so a little bit of explanation first. This is VR chat, and instead of showing you my messy room, I'd figured I'd show you somebody else's messy room. Can you just bear with me? I swear I'm cooking. Okay, I think we're golden. This year in film studies, we watched a ton of movies. Each one has its own style and method of presentation, and that makes picking only one best film really, really difficult. But the answer was almost immediate in my mind. I just had to think of reasons why it couldn't have been this movie. The movie in question is War of the Worlds. I love that movie. Just because I chose War of the Worlds doesn't mean I dislike the other movies. I like The Bronx Tale and the others. I remember first seeing War of the Worlds at my dad's house. And dad's house usually has TV shows or movies that younger kid me probably shouldn't have been watching. Even though War of the Worlds is rated PG-13, there is no world where a 13-year-old, even with parental guidance, should be watching a scene in a movie where people get disintegrated and like Thanos snapped, and then the main character gets that people dust in his mouth, in his hair. It's disgusting. And seeing those scenes, it kind of stuck with me. It made me remember this movie, even if I couldn't remember the name. I remember watching that movie, and those scenes were my first kind of exposure to the terror that comes with being utterly helpless in a situation where you're unable to fight back or do anything. I think that's what made the movie stick in my mind for so long, because no other movie really does that I can think of. If the movie followed something like Stargate's formula, which is a show that played constantly at my dad's house and is unironically pretty goated, it would have just been Ray finding out how to defeat the tripods the first time he encounters them, and then he teams up with the military. I'm the guy who knows how to defeat them. You have to listen to me. And then the military commander's like, we don't need to listen to some random civilian. There's no gathering of the good guys, and okay, here's the plan on how we're gonna beat the aliens and send them back to Mars. It's just Ray trying to make it through another day with his family. It's just bodies floating down the river and people dust in your mouth and red blood fertilizing the weeds that grow over what used to be your home. In class, we talk about how any particular time period's feelings on geopolitics and immigration can be pretty summed up by how their alien movies are made. War of the Worlds 2015 is a movie where aliens have always been underneath us, and they come in and they exterminate us, and then they do sick things with us. They're less than human, at least in the movie. I think it's kind of telling. Younger me wouldn't have known that, though. I just saw the sick aliens and I was like, oh, dude, I love the machines. I love the noises they make. I think the movie, on a metaphorical level, is, of course, referring to racism, and the movie was definitely inspired by post-9/11 patriotism and the feelings of the American populace as, well, you know, they suffered through a tragedy. It shocked the world to see those towers go down, and Spielberg definitely, whether or not it was intentional, captured that in his film. At the end of the movie, the aliens die. Spoilers if you haven't already watched it. They die because they can't handle the microbiology that makes up pretty much the entire Earth. And it was always kind of a shallow ending, you know. It wasn't ever like teased. It's like right at the end, They pick some dying leaves off the redweed, and they're like, huh, I guess they just got COVID. It's pretty clear what the film is trying to say, though, that the aliens don't belong on Earth. They're different. And we win against them because they're not like us.
They not like us.
I don't really like that message of the movie, if you couldn't tell. But can I really blame it? It wasn't even 4 years after the towers went down and the invasion of Afghanistan was going pretty strong. If I was alive back then and I watched what would have been a symbol of imminent prosperity of a nation just go down like that, I mean, I would think they were always among us as well. My favorite scene, scenes, bear with me here. First off, basement sequence. When younger me watched that, I saw the good guy, for the first time in any of the movies I'd really ever seen, murder somebody who wasn't a bad guy. And that kind of stuck with me. I mean, ultimately, Ray had to do that for the greater good, but it was a big no-no in everything else I'd seen before. It gives you conflicted feelings about Ray because ultimately he just wants to keep his daughter safe. Killing Harlan is the only way to do that, and it sucks. He doesn't want to do it, but he has to. Even better though, probably my favorite scene in the movie, if I had to pick one, but I couldn't not mention both of those scenes, is the one immediately afterwards. After clearing the basement, the aliens decide to take one last look, and what do you know? They find Ray and his daughter. And it's the first time in the film that the people even have any chance of fighting back. Ray dives on top of his daughter to stop her from being sucked up by that tentacle thing, and he gets chosen instead. He has the grenades in his hand. He's ready to save everybody else, sacrifice himself for the greater good. Now, the soldier, he realizes that he can't do a whole lot, but he's inspired by something to grab Ray, and he inspires everybody else. Come on, pull me! Pull me! And seeing that scene for the first time, it gives me goosebumps still, but the first time, it was like, these people are in this hopeless situation, and they still decide to keep going, to keep fighting the menace. And it's because of that that they take it down. Ultimately, they do save Ray from being sucked up into the tripod, and he spits out the grenade pins, and boom, 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 everything blows up. And in their darkest of moments, people are still working together, and that is how they beat the tripods. That scene makes me think, I'm never gonna stop fighting for what I want, and God, it still gives me goosebumps every single time. But I still have to give one more filmmaking award to any of the other movies we've watched. That award is Best Cinematography, and it's going to Whiplash. The scene that won me over was the car crash scene, where Neiman is rushing to get back to the stage, and he gets swept off the road by a huge truck.
Okay, look, why don't you just tell Fletcher that I'm coming, you mother...
When it played in class, I audibly gasped because it just took me aback, and the filmmaking had done its magic. I remember after that scene played, I went up and talked to you, and I was like, yo, that scene was pretty crazy, and you had something to say about it. You told me that it was genuinely frightening how accurately modern movies portrayed car crashes nowadays. And I agree. The film does an excellent job of already ramping up the speed and cutting and the claustrophobia, and it just overwhelms the viewer that by the time the car comes into frame, it's too late to even react, and you're so overstimulated that you have nothing to do but just gaze in horror and gasp. Besides that scene, Whiplash uses its camera angles and symbolism through visual mediums to support its message and in general just to make it a better film. Those scenes of sweat bouncing off of symbols and of Fletcher violating Neiman's personal space, they enrapture the viewer and bend spaces into other methods of storytelling. That's uber important when, for a lot of the film, you can't have characters talking to each other. How are you going to talk to each other when you're hardcore drumming on a set and everybody else is tooting their trombones? You can't hear people over that. It honestly makes me sad I can't see the movie for the first time again, because I would love to know my first time reaction. Second, yeah, I guess you could say, I'm upset! I do want to say, though, at the end of this project, thank you for an awesome year, Mr. K. You really put your all into this class every single day. And I'm gonna miss coming into second period, getting the chance to yell at you during the trivia games we played. You taught me to think about films in a way that I really hadn't thought about before, and I'm hoping I could do you the honor of continuing to do that when I see more films. I hope you have an amazing summer.
君が欲しい